This is me, Sarah. This is my life here at home. I've been in the Public Leadership Scholars Program for 2 years now, and it's put me in touch with a lot of great people and opportunities. One of them, of course, being the Capital One Leadership Internship Program. In Scholars, our focus was mostly on local leadership and personal leadership style, with less of an emphasis on global issues. CLIP was the push that I needed to start conceptualizing a more whole and complete picture of leadership. Through my internship at a wider circle in the summer and fall of 2011, I learned about poverty, the idea of true need, and compassion. A wider circle's mission of combating poverty is truly admirable, and their methodology of providing impoverished families with the means to furnish a home shows real long-term thinking and sustainability ideals. Through my 2 semesters in CLIP, we discussed a multitude of different viewpoints that I had never thought through, mostly pertaining to the idea of a global leader and embodying different leadership styles rather than just one. Additionally, we extensively covered a more global view of volunteering and service, and discovering just how controversial it is gave me a lot to think about. And in the midst of processing all of that, we went to Uganda. The adjustment was difficult for me. I struggled with the change in diet and sanitation standards, the moments that string the days together. What needed no adjustment, though, was the warmth and hospitality displayed by our host program, the Foundation for Sustainable Development, and our host families. All of our hosts were upper-middle-class families living in Masaka, a relatively large city about 3 hours from the capital of Kampala. The living conditions were an eye-opener for me, because it really showcased the dichotomy of first and third world countries up close. Although our family had some luxury items in the form of technology, iPod speakers and a laptop, we still did not have running water in the house, indoor plumbing, or consistent electricity. The contrast between these concepts was startling, and showed that the lacking infrastructure is truly the undercurrent of third world poverty. This doesn't sound like much of a revelation, but for someone who lived her whole life in Howard County and really only saw poverty in books, this was quite an eye-opener.
Tell us how you feel about all of this.
Kakati mpulira essanyu lingi nnyo okulabika nti nfunya munkoledde oluzzi tubadde tubonaabona n'amazzi nga tugenda ku luzzi naye kati amazzi tugafunidde wano kumpi era tusiimye nnyo tweyanzire ddala.
Molly, your interpretation?
Yes, Henry is saying he's so grateful because you've come here, you've constructed this water having sunk. They have been going to the well, and the well is very far. Now water is here with them, and when now they see the rain, they are very happy because they are going to collect all this water, and his wife and children will not be going back to fetch water, which is very far. And that water is not clean, it's not safe, it is being used by even animals, but now he is going to save his water here.
Kale Sebo.
We spent most of our time in Uganda working in a small village called Chianamakaka. We spent the days working alongside the locals as they taught us the methods of sustainable development that they were using in the village. Contrary to the conceptions of most of my friends back home, the purpose of our trip was not to travel to Africa and help the poor people there. I found that the actual physical labor that we did was fairly arbitrary. The villagers could have easily done without our help, and in some ways were hindered by our inexperience with manual work. However, the real point to being there was the cross-cultural connection. It goes 2 ways, but the value for us is being able to come home and affect change in what we're studying, what we're involved in, and the way we conduct ourselves overall.
I just took apart the old stove, and now we're waiting for some more spades to scoop it up and go away. We just hacked up all the bricks and saved the bricks that we could reuse, and then the rest of them we're gonna get rid of.
Would you like to tell everybody back home what we've done here?
I would.
All right.
This is our beautiful completed water harvesting tank.
Oh my goodness. Tell us more about it.
Well, it originally started as a hole in the ground that was about, 3.5, 4 feet deep?
Sounds about right.
That's what it was a day and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we cleaned it up and put tarp inside, and then there's a lattice of logs underneath the papyrus, which is really cool, and we cut them all ourselves and nailed them in ourselves. And then we covered it with polyurethane, and then this papyrus, which is to keep the rain inside. This here, this is the pipe that runs from the gutter, so when it rains, the water will go into the hole and be collected, and then instead of having to walk 5 miles to the well, they can simply go into the backyard and get some water.
What's it say?
It says University of Maryland and REAP 2012.
All right.
So that's our
Molly,
water
any closing thoughts from you?
I don't know whether I have enough words to express my happiness, because seeing the students coming from Maryland come here, do such a wonderful work with us here, it is really...
Dealing with this overload of information at times felt completely normal and easy to digest, and other times I felt unbelievably overwhelmed. For this reason, I was so glad to feel close to the 13 other kids on this trip. From other experiences I've had that have really shifted my perspective, having people to bounce it all off of is key. Without real discussion to follow such a life-changing trip, the experience runs the risk of becoming obsolete. It was an honor and a pleasure to travel with such a group. This particular combination of people created an amazing experience that can never be replicated. So now what? Back home, I've done my best to tell my stories and get people interested in leadership, in other countries, and in learning. It's my job to disseminate information that inspires other people to get interested and get out there. I'm still pursuing my degree in neurobiology and physiology, but I'm approaching it with much more of an interest in global health. I've had a few meetings about applying for the 2-year master's program in public policy here at the University of Maryland, and my intent is to specialize in international development and global health. I now have a vested interest in following this subject matter further, and I'm beyond excited to see where it's going to take me.